You're watching Training Camp with Adam Marburger, exclusively on CBT News.
Welcome to Training Camp exclusively on CBT News. I'm your host, Adam Marburger. I'm a black belt in jiu-jitsu. I'm a black belt in automotive. This show's designed to help individuals become better versions of themselves. And today we've got very special guests. I've got dear friends. I've got gentlemen that are making a difference in the community, making a difference in the industry. I'm here with David Booth and Jonathan Dawson.
Yeah.
Welcome to the show, gentlemen. How are we doing?
Thank you. Honored to be here. Excited to be on Training Camp.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Yeah. So I'm going to get right to it. Dave, I'm going to have to start with you. You know, Jonathan, most people know him. He's kind of a big deal. What's it like working with a celebrity?
Amazing.
I mean, is paparazzi, are they there daily or do they come in typically on the weekends? What's that like?
They're always camped out across from the dealership, just trying to wait and to see if they can catch a glimpse of Jonathan pulling up to the dealership. Sure.
Yeah. On a serious note, so JD, you're a world-class trainer. You built a wonderful business. You've helped thousands and thousands of salespeople and managers grow as professionals. And you just hit your goal of being a dealer principal. Talk to me about what's it like now you're a dealer. You're a dealer principal. How's it feel? What's changed over the last 6 months? If you could just kind of share a little bit.
I will say the number one change that I have experienced is the deep empathy I have at a whole new level for operators in general. As a consultant who's now served the auto industry for over 2 decades, and as you mentioned, I've been in 3,000 dealerships now across 9 countries, including this year, 2 new countries I added. I have worked with and been inside and helped some of the best dealerships in the country, stores that sell over 1,000 cars a month, small stores that are struggling to get to 50. I have lots of great friends. And it's been eye-opening as now being the actual dealer and looking at everything from that side. It's eye-opening how some of the advice I gave as a consultant came so naturally and so easy. Because it was just like, oh yeah, just do this, like just fire the guy, or just cut off that vendor, or just do this. Why don't you just do that? And now again, being partnered with David, he's sitting in the chair operating the store daily. But some of the conversations we have, and I go, if my consultant hat was on right now, I would just go, just do this. But I think, but God, as a dealer, it's like, yeah, but there's more to it. It's more nuance. Yeah. So I've become even more empathetic as a consultant, and I think that's made me even a stronger dealer partner. But also, of course, I was always a hands-on guy. I mean, my reputation for those that followed my work for years or knew what Sellcology was all about, the number one comment/compliment was, John, I can tell that you still sell cars. Because I did, even as a trainer and consultant. I wouldn't just teach the theory.
You do it online. You're supposed to see it online.
People who follow my work would know that I'm there in the middle. I'm closing deals, getting involved. So the retail part has always been in my DNA in that sense. I always thought of myself as a car salesman first who just happens to be good at teaching things. But now being on the dealer side and actually having a store and having all the responsibilities that go with it, and having also the freedom. I mean, I have a partner like David, who, from an operations perspective, who truly believed and believes in Sellcology, means we get to come up with stuff and have conversations that, if you sat around the table when we're brainstorming, the average dealer would be like, what are you guys even talking about? That doesn't even make sense. Because we're like, let's be creative, let's be innovative, let's ask stupid questions. Let's pretend that there aren't any limits. And but I'm the gas, he's the brakes. Yeah. So I'm coming at him like, what about this? What about this? And he's like, okay.
Visionary integrator. Everybody, that relationship has to exist.
So it's a perfect partnership, but it's been an amazing experience. 6 months now. We just finished in December, was our 6th full month of ownership and operations of the store. And it's been a great ride.
Fantastic. So David, I've had the honor and privilege of sitting in your store for a day. And before, I'm going to touch on a few things here in a minute, but I want to hear from you first. I see what you're doing, and it's remarkable. It's honestly, I've never seen what is being done in your store ever, anywhere. Nothing even close, by the way. And I want to hear a little bit about your story. So how'd you get into this wonderful business that we're in? Yeah. And how did he talk you into partnering together?
He's very convincing.
He's a great salesman.
25 years ago, I had the privilege right here in Georgia to go to work for Ed Volz Automotive Group, which is an incredible experience. And that's where the industry started for me. And then along the way, probably 10, 11 years ago, I met Jonathan, and he and I started working together. He was my vendor partner, my training partner in my dealership, and we developed a strong friendship and relationship. And over the years, we would always ask the question, because I was never in a dealer role where I had full, full autonomy to really do the things that we're doing. And so we started talking about, hey, what if we did something together? Like, what would that look like? And, Cherokee Mitsubishi is the culmination of a lot of years of friendship and trust and understanding what he's all about, and he understands what I'm all about.
Yeah.
And so we're doing weird things. We're a little bit Savannah Bananas,
Yeah.
and we're a little bit Chick-fil-A, and we're somewhere in the middle of that. We want to merge those two types of businesses and bring that to the car business. And you've seen that firsthand in the dealership.
Yeah, I got this, and I want to kind of piggyback on that, talk a little bit about that. But like what I saw in the store, I've never seen anything like it. Yeah, sure, I've seen red carpets, but the way you guys set up the red carpet by the car, the way you have the staff surrounding the vehicle, you've got confetti and all this, everybody clapping. I saw more tears shed in that dealership, and these are happy, joyful tears. These aren't tears because they were in F&I for 3 hours.
That's right.
But we got happy tears. So share. Let's break that down. Like who is Cherokee Mitsubishi? What do y'all stand for, and why are you doing all this? Because you guys are kind of against the grain at some level. I'd love to really unpack that.
So if you're familiar with Savannah Bananas, their mantra and kind of core theme is fans first, right? Ours is raving fan advocates. So our mission is to create raving fan advocates, essentially, right? And so when you think about this, and by the way, if anybody's watching this, you're an operator, general manager, GSM, if you have influence over a team, a word that I think you could incorporate from this conversation that's worthy of intentionally incorporating is the concept and the word advocate. What does an advocate look like, and are we creating those? I think in general, most dealerships, if you're in business, you're able to create consumers who will maybe become customers or clients, right? But there's a huge difference between converting a person who's a stranger in the market to become your customer who buys from you because you happen to have what they want at a price they'll say yes to, versus a client who would, if asked, say nice things about you. But an advocate, if you look at the term, it's someone who wants something else to win. So our mission is to reverse engineer advocacy and ask, how do we mass produce advocates through the experience that we're creating while they're buying a car? So our goal is to out-experience the competition, create raving fan advocates, and in doing so, with that in the background, as you think from that perspective, you just go, all right, well, what would that look like? And start playing with it. And obviously it's not just in the delivery, though the delivery is important, because you think about, again, impressions, right? First impressions and last impressions. They say you never get a second chance at the first one. And your last impression, of course, is the lasting impression in that sense. So what we've mostly mastered, or what we're working towards mastery, is going, okay, let's make sure the first 10 minutes is as beautiful as possible. That builds a lot of grace. And then let's make sure the last 10 minutes are also beautiful as possible, and that steals the relationship memory. And so that's my answer to the question. David, you can obviously expand on it.
Yeah, and I think we're not a traditional dealership in the sense of we're not buying billboards and spending money on traditional marketing. We're putting the money back into our customer base and into the experience and providing items that they can carry with them that they'll keep forever, like high quality hats, cups, just special gifts that we're gonna, present to the customer that just makes it an experience like no other. And, I had a customer just Monday buy a car from us. She bought a $100,000 Mercedes and said blows away the experience she had at a Mercedes dealership. And they're in a Mitsubishi dealership in Cherokee County and getting a chance to experience just another level of just making them feel welcome. So it's just a little piece of what we're doing.
I noticed
different.
I opened up one of your gas caps, and I noticed some. I almost took it. I noticed some cash in there. Well, it was for delivery, so I didn't want. But a little handwritten note, just a little to get you by, is what I saw. Then I looked in the glove box, and you're hiding cards.
Yeah.
You're making. I mean, this what?
Yeah, there's an Easter egg hunt essentially. So this is a concept, and I'll give credit to the originator of this. So the gentleman who originated this is a long old friend of mine named Chris Hansen. Chris Hansen, as a salesman, created what we teach is called the never-ending delivery. And the never-ending delivery is, again, based on this idea of you got first impression, you got last impressions, how do you strengthen either side of that equation? So what he did is he said, okay, at the delivery, what can I do to make it a really memorable experience? And this was back when he was a Chrysler salesman selling minivans, and somebody will remember this, but back then the center console of the Chrysler minivan had a little spring-loaded change holder where you could put quarters, nickels, and dimes in it, right? And when you lifted the lid, it had a little molded place for like a tissue box, right? So he actually saw these empty spots, and he thought, you know what, I got spare change. So he preloaded the spare change spring-loaded thing, preloads it with change. He takes and goes and buys the tissue boxes, puts it in there. Then he gets a little gift bag from local businesses to donate stuff. He had, pens and tchotchke type stuff, and he put it inside the center glove box. And then he said, I'm going to put a note inside there too. And that's how it kind of started. Then he said, you know what, I'm going to hide some more notes. So then he hid another note in the actual glove box. And then he hid a note underneath one of the floor mats. And then he put a $2 bill in the gas cap, and with a little note that said just a couple bucks to get you on the way. So when I met Chris, this is 20 something years ago, and he was telling me what he was doing, I'm like, that's the right way to deliver. And it's called the never ending delivery because
Love that.
Because it's a perpetual experiential re-anchor back to that emotion of buying the car. Because you buy the car and you drive off the lot. And he said sometimes it would take 10 minutes, sometimes it would take an hour, sometimes it'd be a day, but inevitably somebody would call and say, hey Chris, I think somebody who drove the car before me left stuff in the glove box or left stuff in the center console. And he'd say, oh, did you look through it? Is there anything there? And then they'd find that there's a note. Oh, that money is my money now. He gave me this money. I thought it was somebody left change in there. And then they would have that, oh, wow, he was that thoughtful. And then maybe it's 2 weeks or maybe it's, a month later, they go to get gas for the first time. And then there's this $2 bill with a note. And they're like, wow, he thought of that. And then they're cleaning their car for the very first time and they lift the floor mat and there's a car that says, hey, if you found this, you're washing your car for the first time, bring it by, let's get a cup of coffee, I'll wash it for you and let's catch up. So it's this never-ending delivery. Well, our very first delivery since we bought the store, we have not missed a never-ending delivery on a single sale.
Yeah.
So every single customer is leaving with this Easter egg experience. And here we are 6 months later, and we are still seeing the residual drip effect with people posting on social media when they find that next thing.
It's amazing.
And tagging back to it and saying, 4 months ago, I bought a car here. Here's another thing I found.
Yeah.
So we're trying to out-experience the competition, and part of that means intentional experiences, right? What parts of the sale can we make people go, wow? And if we can wow people 3 to 5 times in the sale, we'll convert them to an advocate.
So I'm going to switch gears real quick. So David, since you've taken over, you're the operator, you're John's partner. What have been some of your challenges since you've taken over the store? Give me a couple of examples and how'd you get through those?
Well, I've always run big dealerships, so going from 200 employees down to 20, much more difficult. The big store, believe it or not, is way easier to run because your margin for error in a small store is razor thin. You make a mistake in a big store, and no big deal. You can
Volume covers a multitude of sins.
It does. And in a smaller store, you've got to be on your game all the time, and you can't even have little mistakes and adjustments. They can absolutely, be very, very challenging in a smaller store. But it's been, I've had the most fun I've probably had in 10, 15 years in the car business building this.
So Jonathan, like with you, so what setback have you maybe incurred since you started? What's something you learned you learned maybe the hard way that you might be able to tell a dealer to help them?
Well, I think most of us know. I mean, everything would be way easier if it wasn't for humans, right? So I would say, the number one challenge is when we took over the store, we purposed to not fire anyone unless they gave us real cause. But we're buying a store that's severely underperforming and has been sustained at a severely underperforming state for a long time. So they've normalized this complacency, right? So you're taking over a store where at the time when we took over the store, selling between 11 and 15 cars a month for the last 6 months, losing $100,000 a month, where the top salesperson in the building's personal record is 11 cars in a month. And so you're like, okay, that's what you're buying or inheriting. And then the easiest thing I could have done, and maybe some people would even say I was foolish for not doing it, is I could have fired everybody, used my vast network of tens of thousands of followers and people that know me and follow my work, and simply said, I'm buying a store, I need to staff it with these people, send me resumes, show me hands. I could have easily found, recruited, and hired. I mean, I recruited him from a big store to a Mitsu store. I could recruit people if I wanted to replace everybody. But the decision, which was mutual and difficult, honestly, was let's just grow them. Let's see if we can turn these people around. And so we have only lost one person since we bought the store, which is a person who quit literally the day after we bought. They just quit. But every other member of their team is still there from day one, and we've grown since then. And it's been a challenge because there's times when you're fighting against this deeply ingrained, we've always done it this way, we've never been held accountable to this, no one's ever asked or demanded this of us. It's a challenge to be gracious in moments like that because it's expensive also to be gracious. Yeah. But we're playing the long game. And again, we're trusting that if we do this that way, God's able to redeem and multiply. And so we're hoping if we're good stewards, it'll come back. But even if it doesn't immediately do so, we're still committed to do what's right. One of our core values is do what's right. Yeah. And so we thought the right thing to do is to give everybody all the resources, chances, and opportunities to prove themselves consistent with our core values or to exclude themselves and eliminate themselves.
We'll land this plane here. I got a couple more questions though. Yeah. There's one that I have to bring up. So I saw y'all post online your crazy schedule, meaning like I don't think it's crazy. Yeah. I like it, but if I would have shown my dealer principal that I worked for 20 years almost that schedule, he would have said, yeah, right, throw that in the trash, right? Yeah. So whose idea was it? And if you don't mind, share that schedule so you can maybe get some more heat from CBT from dealers. I'm putting you on the hot seat.
I'm gassing.
Gas brakes.
I'm like, what?
I did come along. Like I have the ability to veto him.
Yes.
Let's just get that straight. So,
he does, and that's
because he's got some amazing, crazy, nutty ideas. But again, a little bit Savannah Bananas, a little bit Chick-fil-A.
Yeah.
And we're not going to be normal. We want to be weird. We don't want to be the normal car business. I've been in those situations, and quite honestly, what we're building should be, people should look at it from afar and go, that's weird, why would they do that? And then they'll look up 10 years from now and they're all going to understand why we did what we did. We value people over profits. Now we will be profitable, but the people starts with our people, our team members are the most valuable people that we're dealing with, and we want them to know their children. We want them to know their families. We don't want to have people that are just so committed to us that they don't know their kids.
Yeah.
And so if you want to run down
some of the schedule, just some of the pieces. Yeah. And by the way, Josh Potts, if you ever see this episode, shout out to you because you're an innovator and trendsetter in this as well.
He's an amazing human is what Josh.
So Josh has been a longtime client of mine there at Macaque Chevrolet. I think we're on our 6th year together. And he actually launched a similar calendar as well, which is if you get your spouse's birthday off, you get your birthday off. If you have children under 18, you get their birthdays off. We did Black Friday off. We have Valentine's Day off. We have all the major holidays that you would normally do off. You get your anniversary off. And that's some of those, by the way, just to be fully transparent with the audience, because you're thinking, well, how do you even run a store that way? Some of them we actually have that are voluntary. Some is like you have the option of taking it if you want to come to work, and those want to work, we can do so. If you want to, if you want a different time off, we understand that. So we're very gracious with that. But like when you look at like our core values that drive our decision making, our first one is ask, don't assume. Then we do what's right is D, and then value people's time is the third one. Our advocates spells out our core values. But value people's time is one of them. That's not just the consumer, right? Because I think a huge mistake, and I'm going to be bold in claiming this, is that many dealers make this mistake. They think their customer is the person who comes in to buy a car, and they think that's the most important person in the building. And I would say, and I'm not the first one to say this, but actually your people are your first customer, and your people are actually your first ones you must sell daily. The first one you have to sell every day you walk in the room is sell your people and why they should buy into you again today. Why should they choose you again? And selling your people first on the way you treat people and the way you care about people and the way you serve people, if you sell your first audience to convince daily is that audience. When you sell them, they will sell your second customer, which is the one you're spending the money to get in the door. But understanding that as a guiding principle means that you have to go, if I have somebody who sells 25 cars a month while getting a divorce, I failed them. You know what I'm saying? Obviously there's extenuating circumstances, but like if I create an environment where someone pushes for me and then misses their kid's ball game and ballet recital and birthday and they end up ultimately with money and alone, I as a leader failed them.
Yes.
In my opinion,
Yes.
I failed them. So we're, as a company, committed to value people's time. Obviously, in the process of buying a car, the customer experience, we're going to be efficient, but that includes our own people, and it includes how we treat them, what we expect, or what we demand from them.
Brilliant, brilliant. Final question here. You guys can both answer this. What's next? What's coming up? 2025 is gone. 2026 is here. I'm pretty confident you have some pretty lofty goals for yourself, but what does 2026 look like for Cherokee Mitsubishi?
Well, so let me share a couple of the things that are decorative.
Please do.
Here, because I want to get because that'll tie into that,
Yeah,
right?
Please do.
So anybody watching here, you'll notice we got this kind of paraphernalia here. So these are, stainless steel Yeti cups here. These are going to be branded with customers' personal names. These are already personally branded. The customer gets this. This is actually here. Can you talk about this real quick,
Yeah,
David?
so this is a basket that we put together with a bunch of items that will be useful to the customer. We hand deliver this to the customer's business. So we have a person that hand delivers this, drives it out, presents it to the customer 2 days after they buy the car. That's just another step that we take that is completely different and abnormal to the normal car business to just really drive home creating raving fan advocates, because what happens is no one does that. So we're the innovators and the pioneers for doing something super special.
Context, again, inside this basket here, there's a chip clip for sealing up your bag of chips. There's a mouse pad. There's this personalized stainless steel travel mug. There's really nice plastic kind of picnic cups that'll stay with you for 10 years. And there's some other, again, there's chapstick, some other kind
Handwritten
of
note.
handwritten note.
Handwritten note from me.
And then if the client is not local enough for our delivery guy, we have a guy whose whole job is to just post-sale hand deliver these to their home or work. Then we have another custom box where everything gets mailed out if they're beyond the scope. But we are in 2026, we're going to try to invert the paradigm of the traditional model that dealers have. I think this is a fair statement. A dealer on average will spend about $500 in acquisition to attract a customer to buy a sale. Then they might spend $50 post-sale in retention budget. So they'll spend $500 here and then $50 after the fact. We've flipped the paradigm. So our goal is to spend $50 to acquire them and then spend $500 to keep them. And so from the post-sale things that happen, because they also get a box of brownies delivered to them, and they get a whole bunch of other stuff that happens over the course of the next 3 years that's tracked out. We have a wheel that we just had custom built by one of our customers. We
Saw that online. Yeah.
I got it's like a 1,500 pound indestructible. It'll last. It and cockroaches will be around in 50 years,
Right.
100 years. But that wheel that we just launched is essentially our campaign for longevity and referrals. When you sell a car, when you buy a car, you spin the wheel. When you refer someone, you get to spin the wheel again for referring someone. So our goal is to accelerate our business through word of mouth, through referral, through self-generation. If I can keep my average cost of acquisition to $50 on anything that you might call traditional digital, and then spend $500 in relational investment, that's the goal. We have our own cash money, so we've got our Cherokee cash here. So
Can I use that for the dinner tab tonight?
tonight's dinner, you can pay for it probably with this. So we have our own internal currency that we do. We have custom cards that we give people. We have a partnership card with local businesses that give you, if you show them you're one of our Cherokee partner customers, which is you're a customer, discounts at local businesses, free appetizers, drinks for presenting that you're one of our customers. So we're going to be community driven.
Goodness, I love
We're going to own. Like, if it were up to me, I wouldn't want to sell a car for any. If you live outside of 30 miles of my dealership, I'm okay if somebody else sells you. But if you live within 30 miles of our dealership, we're going to find a way to help you buy a car.
Love that.
And we're going to own our network. We're going to own our neighborhood. We're going to own our community. And in doing so, if God gives us the grace to expand, we'll grow Kingdom Auto Group, which is our parent company. we'll continue to spread Kingdom Auto Group across the country and keep growing. That's my answer. Do you have an answer?
Yeah, I would echo that. I think the main thing is it's about our people and developing our people, and then our people going out and creating raving fan advocates. And that raving fan advocate is the key to this. It is the key to this in 2026. Everybody knows, if you're watching this, that referral customer is easier, it's quicker, you can do more of that type of business. So in 2026, we're going to do a huge amount of referral business through the way we're treating our customers and our team members.
Well, I will say this, you guys are nothing short of exceptional. And I hope, my hope with this conversation is you'll inspire dealers that are watching and maybe follow suit and step their game up a little bit too. Because it's about serving and helping people, right? And you guys, I'm proud of both of you. It's an honor and privilege to know both of you. And like I said, just the experience at your store, it was really one of those, you know, I go into a lot of stores, you know that. And when you leave a store with your heart just on fire and, you know, just spending the day with your mom, my goodness, what a blessing she is. And just to actually see the activity on the showroom floor, and everybody's always doing something. Everybody's so kind. Everybody's smiling. Everybody's wanting to help somebody. So thank you guys again for coming on the show. I really, really appreciate it. And thank you for tuning in to another episode of Training Camp exclusively on CBT News. Remember, if nothing changes, nothing changes. We must be willing to take action. And one thing I just want to say before we go, fights aren't won in the ring. They're not won in the cage. Fights are won in training camp. Let's get to work.
Thanks for watching Training Camp with Adam Marburger, exclusively on CBT News.